CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Mental Health Talk with yours truly. I am Christina McIntyre. We're at the beginning of a new month, so this month is all about thanks. So let's start thinking more about what we're thankful for. I know a lot of times we tend to forget those little things that add up to major things, and we tend to forget, the reasons why we should be thankful. If you have a roof over your head, food in your stomach, clothes on your back, some form of transportation, you're doing a whole lot better than most people. And I think the more that we learn to appreciate and be thankful for those things that we have, the more that we will gain in abundance. Don't forget to visit my website, www.becomeyourc.com, where I talk about the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of ourselves to help us on our journey towards self-discovery. Also follow me on Instagram at BecomeYourC, Facebook BYC Become Your C, YouTube BYC Become Your C, where you can check out all my latest podcasts. Also, I am on TikTok at Become Your C. So I do have a book out. It's called Become Your C, 21 Poems to Ignite Your Spiritual Journey. I wrote this to help people think outside of the box. A lot of times we have this one way of thinking and doing. And so I wrote this book with people in mind to challenge them, to get them to think and feel on a deeper level. So if you're interested, there's a link on my page, Christina McIntyre, that you can find. You can purchase it as an ebook or a paperback. Also, if you're interested in learning about the chakra, that's my approach to mental health. It's a holistic approach. I use the chakra system in order to help me on my journey, help me to rationalize what I'm dealing with when I have like a mental health breakdown. So if you're interested in learning more about the chakras, you can always message me as well. My jewelry is on sale, $15 for the bracelet and necklace, and then $5 for the keychain. So I'll keep it simple and affordable, and it's an aid to help you on your journey. So on November the 17th, it's a Wednesday, from 12 to 3 at Dream Event Space at 517 Avenue of the States here in Chester. I am having a Feed the Homeless for the holidays event. So the doors will be open for those homeless in our community. And what they will get is a free hot meal on us. And if you know someone that is homeless or you see someone that is homeless, please reach out and tell them. I am going to be posting flyers up today and this week. And to get more people out as possible, there is a limit to the amount of people that can be served. So I want people to get there early and on time so that we're able to feed them. We can't save everybody, but it's important that we try to reach out into our communities and do something for them. And this is one thing that I always have been connected with, to help the homeless. Like for me, we grew up for a little bit in a homeless shelter when we were younger, and I always wanted to give back. Everyone has a story, so at least, we can offer them a free hot meal for the holidays. So again, that date is November the 17th, 12 to 3 at Dream Event Space at 517 Avenue of the States. And if you need to contact me, just message me. Also, Crystal Anderson, Drink Like Lady, will be there also, giving away clothes. So if you need food and clothes, that's the spot to be at on that date. So the topic for this week, mental health and attachments. So attachments is one of them things. It can be a good and bad, but it all depends on how obsessive one can be with attachments. We have emotional attachments, mental attachments, spiritual and physical attachments. And it's hard to break ourselves from those attachments depending on where you are in your life. I believe that some of the negative attachments that we have stem from childhood, right? So when we grow up, our parents are the first people that we see. And depending on how the situation is at home, that's where we gain our first attachments, right? We're attached to our mother, father, brothers, and sisters. And so when there's conflict in the home, it can affect how you are attached later on. So if you are neglected as a child and you're abandoned as a child, you're going to grow up. And so the people that you seek, you'll latch onto quickly, right? You'll fall in love quickly. If they leave you, you feel devastated. And some people get to the point where it becomes an obsession. Like if someone leaves them, they find ways to stay in touch with them, right? And so this can lead to a psychotic break. So it's important that we figure out where our attachments coming from and then do the work behind it to break them. Attachments can be negative in a way that it causes dependency. It can lead to addiction. Attachment can be manipulation, isolation, abuse, low self-esteem, and loneliness. And I say low self-esteem because when let's take relationships for an example. When you're in a relationship, it's very good that you feel some type of attachment to the partner that you choose. But when it becomes overwhelming to the point that you have to know where they're at all the time, or they can't talk to anybody, or you feel neglected if they're not around you 24/7, you're developing a negative attachment, and that can push people away, right? People need to be able to function, on their own sometimes. And if you are a person that you have to have someone there, or you can't function without this person, that attachment probably developed in childhood. Most likely you were neglected as a child. You didn't get the love and the care and attention that you need. So you go out and seek that attention from relationships. And what this can do is damage the relationship, because people, we're going to have friends and intimate relationships, but people have to be able to breathe. And I feel like when you have an overwhelming attachment to someone, you can kind of suffocate them. Whereas they can't function, they can't move without your approval. This can turn to abuse. That's why I said manipulation. It can turn to like mental abuse. You talk to this person in a way like if they leave you, you may harm them. Some people will threaten them, like if you leave me, I'm going to commit suicide. Like it's really deep, and they don't realize where it's coming from. They think that it's normal. But it's not normal when you are threatening someone else. It's not normal when you choose to cause yourself harm because of this attachment. Attachment can also create a lot of mental health disorders as well. OCD is one of them. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. So you become obsessed, and this is not just with people. It could be things. It could be places. And an attachment can be addictions as well. Like, let's say you're a food addict, right? And you need food. Food provides you pleasure. You can't live without it. I don't know if you ever seen that 600-pound life where these people become obsessed with food. And so become obsessed to the point where they feel like they need to eat every second of the day. So that is an attachment to something that's physical, but it's also mental too, because in their mind they feel like this is a safe place for them. Like, food doesn't talk back, food provides you pleasure, so to them it's okay. But it's a problem because it's creating an addiction, it's affecting their health, and so they don't know how to break it. So it becomes their friend, and they're comfortable with that. And in order to break that, they would have to change the cycle. And the food is one of them things that's kind of hard when you're addicted to it, because you need it to survive. Also, having an attachment can create anxiety, right? You worry. So let's say you're attached to people again, and you're always worrying about what this person is doing, or why this person hasn't called me back, not realizing have you not reached out to that person as well, right? We want to have these relationships with people, and sometimes it can be one-sided, and then we need to ask ourselves questions like, are we being the friend or the partner that we need to be in whatever relationships you choose to be in? But when you're stuck in that attachment, you feel like you're the most important thing in that relationship. And so you want to know where these people are at or all the time, and you want to know why they didn't text you back right away, not knowing that they had other things to accomplish. Also, being hoarding, right? Hoarding is a attachment to things. I was just watching the Hoarders the other night and trying to get in the mind of someone that collects these items. But as you speak with them, you realize that they tie these items that they collect to someone that has passed away. Maybe they were abused. So to them, it feels comfortable. It feels safe. It was one lady on the show that her and her husband, they used to buy out stores, and they would collect these items to try to sell them. Well, her husband had passed away, and she still had so much. Her home was filled with these items that were just sitting there for years. A lot of it didn't work, but she still couldn't let it go. And come to find out, because it was attached, it was something that her and her husband do. So she created an unhealthy attachment to things because of a relationship that had passed on, and she couldn't let it go because she couldn't come to the terms with that her husband really passed away. So we have to pay attention to those. Also, attachments can create paranoid personality disorder, right? So we're always constantly worrying about what these people are doing. Are they doing this to us? Or we create in our mind that this person has done something to me, so I'm going to act this way. Also, you can have hallucinations and delusions. Well, hallucinations is you hear things. Delusion is you're thinking and seeing things. Or, no, I think I got that wrong. All right, I think I got that wrong. I think a delusion is you create, I don't know, but one of them, you create scenarios in your head that are not really there. Let's say you're constantly thinking about something, and you're thinking this is happening, right? Like, let's say you're walking down the street and you see a group of people. Now you're thinking they're talking about you, but they're not even thinking about you, and they're not looking your way. But in your head, it's creating that because maybe you were teased and bullied growing up, and that's how you perceive everyone in front of you. And then you might hear things, right? Let's say people used to call you names, or you were in a relationship where this was the behavior pattern. So you get with new people and you're thinking they doing the same thing, but that's not reality. It's what attachments create is obsessive needs to have in our life. Like, we have to have this thing. We cannot function without it. And so if we feel like we can't function without stuff, if something doesn't go the way that we want it to go, we feel like we're going to die. Like, we can't live without it. We feel like we can't function. So this can lead to depression, right? Especially, like, let's say you're in a relationship and you become obsessed and have a negative attachment to this person, and y'all break up, and you can't understand why you broke up. And so you start getting depressed over this attachment that you lost because maybe when you were young, people left you and they abandoned you. So you created this a relationship in your head, and when things get tough or people wind up leaving, it causes you to feel negatively, and this could lead to depression. It could ultimately lead to suicide as well. People have committed suicide over negative attachments. The attachment feels safe for us, whether it does harm or not. We feel comfortable, whatever attachment that we have. Some people have attachment to, again, like things, right? Like hoarders, they collect things. Maybe people have attachment to, like, let's say you have a obsession with cars, right? So you're collecting all these cars, you're storing them, but you're not fixing them, you're not using them, and it's just collecting more and more. It's becoming more damaged the longer that it sits. But for you, you see the value in it, right? And so if you try to sell it, if you're not getting what you think it's worth, you think that is an issue. And so that's a negative attachment to things because you're not seeing the reality of the situation. And a lot of people do have these attachments to things and don't even realize it. We can be emotionally attached to things as well, especially, let's say you never had a lot growing up or you had too much, and then you get things as you get older. You kind of start to not hoard but hold on to things. You don't want to let things go, so you're collecting things. Let's say you live in a small apartment and you don't want to let it go because you feel like you'll never have them again. So you see it as more of a benefit than it is of a negative. Attachments control us. They control us by making us feel like we need to have these things in place in our life. Like, especially, let's say people, we can't live without certain people, and this could be friends, family, intimate relationships, and the way it controls us is like if we don't hear from these people, if we don't see them, we feel like we're isolated. We feel like they don't care about us and love us. So we start creating these scenarios in our head like maybe this is true. And then you start to feel like you're not good enough and worthy enough. And you may do things to try to counteract that. Maybe you're obsessively calling these people or texting and asking them, oh, why aren't you calling me? And that creates a strain on the whatever relationship you have. And people really don't understand why you're attached. And this is some work that we need to do for ourselves if you feel like you have these type of attachments. And it's hard because we don't notice it right away. We think that it's normal. It became our life. But if you find yourself in this situation where you have pushed people away because maybe they call it too needy, or you've become too obsessed with someone, you got to stop and ask yourself, like, why am I feeling this way? Again, I go back to childhood. A lot of our issues as adults stem from childhood. We didn't get what we needed back then, and so we go out and search for it now. But sometimes we don't know how to search for it in the right way. We don't know how to ask for what we need. We maybe settle for things and people we shouldn't, and so in our heads, it creates this comfort place, right? If you're in an abusive relationship, it can be a mental attachment, right? Like the abuser sometimes will use tactics and words to manipulate you into thinking that they're all you need. And so you stay attached to them. And that's why it's hard when you're in that type of relationship to get yourself out of it, because it's like a mind control situation. And once they get in your head and start feeding you this information, first manipulators, they first start off positive, then they start slowly adding stuff and make you feel worthless. So now you feel like you need them, and that is their whole goal. And it's basically about control. How do we have safe attachments? Well, one reason is to identify when attachments become obsessive. So this is by learning who you are as a person. We don't know that we're attached to something, or it's okay to be attached, but to be obsessively attached, unless we're paying attention to how we go about doing things. If you know something is causing pain and strain in your life, it may be affecting you in a negative way, so you have to pay attention to that. Like, I do have a form of OCD. It's gotten better over the years. I used to be obsessed with having things in a certain way. I didn't like clutter or chaos. When my son was younger, I would constantly pick up his toys off of the floor, like as soon as he put them down to play with them. And I had to sit with myself one day, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm driving myself crazy over this little boy playing with toys. And so I kind of had to take myself out of the equation and be like, okay, this is not worth it, and it's causing me more anxiety. So when you were able to identify that you have this obsession or this attachment, then you could take yourself about it. My whole thing was like, I didn't want to have clutter, so this caused me to be obsessed over the clutter, and so it created a whole bunch of chaos, and then I get angry from it. So I definitely had to change my train of thought. So what you have to do is identify if you have an attachment to something, and if you have an attachment to people, you got to identify why. Why do you feel like you need these certain type of people in your life? Let's say you're in a relationship and you keep attracting these people. Like, you got to ask yourself why. Or why do you stay in situations that causes you harm and pain? Because we feel like sometimes we feel like we deserve it, so we stay longer in certain friendships and relationships than we need to be. So we have to ask ourselves, okay, so why am I staying in this? Is it because I feel like I deserve it? Is it because I feel like I need this person? Okay, and then ask yourself, why do I need this person? And I guarantee you'll find the answer, and then all will stem back to your childhood. Like, I know growing up, we weren't told that we were loved. We were kind of like isolated. We were, I wouldn't say neglected, but like our dad got killed young, so we kind of felt like abandoned. Like, I know that I did. So for me, that created a negative attachment, right, to relationships. Like, I feel like I have to do everything that I can to hold on to this person, or they're going to leave me. So you create a negative situation for yourself. Like, you're going to overdo for this person, even though they're not giving you what you need, because you feel like this person will leave you. And that stemmed from me not having a father figure in my life, because he got killed. But for me, like, when you're young growing up, you feel like they left you. And so you're going to try everything in your power to keep that person no matter what. That's just an example. So for you, it may be different, right? You got to figure out why you are attached to certain people and then things, right? A lot of, like, let's say, again, I talked about the hoarders. Let's say you're attached to things. You have to ask yourself, do I need this one in my life? Is it causing me more stress in my life? And why do I feel like I have to have this item or these things? Some people may be attached to, let's say, going to a certain place all the time, like, or they smell something and they have to have it at that minute. If they don't get it, it causes them strife. And you have to ask yourself these questions, because at some point it become overwhelming. Let's say you're throwing away money. Let's say you like gambling. Gambling is an addiction, but it can be an attachment, right? An idea that you have that if I get this money, then I can do this, right? And so we have a negative attachment with money. We become obsessed with it because we feel like it can change everything. So just pay attention to what you're doing in your life and asking yourself questions. And that's the biggest thing. Like, we don't see sometimes the things that we do in our life as negative. But if we find ourselves alone a lot, if we find ourselves in like chaos a lot, we go through a lot of stuff eternally, we have to eventually ask ourselves questions. I think sometimes we always look on the outside for people to fix us when we need to fix ourselves. Also get help um, if you feel like you have negative attachments or it's obsessive, right? A lot of us don't want to seek out help because it seems crazy, right? That, oh, I'm attached to these things, or I'm attached to these people. A lot of people still put a stigma on mental health, but if it's something that is causing you sadness in your life and is causing you to live in chaos in your head, it's okay to get help. We get help for everything else. We get help for when we don't feel good, we go to a doctor. Our eyes hurt, we go to the eye doctor. If you're mentally not strong, that is okay. That's why doctors are there. They have therapists and psychologists. If you want to go the religion aspect, find a church that you think that can help you. Do whatever you have to so that you can have peace. It's okay that you have these issues. You know, we don't know what happened or how your life developed. What I urge people to do is get the help that they need so they can start to enjoy their life. When we run around and hold these attachments, we can't fulfill our life to the best that we can, right? Because we feel like we have to have this thing in place in order to function. And so if that gets taken away, we get at a standstill. And that's what I don't want for us. I don't want us to be stuck in where we're at because we're negatively attached to something. Identify your attachment and ask yourself why it's there. I said that previously. This requires a lot of meditation and sitting down with yourself, and it's hard. Like, I've been practicing this almost this whole entire year about I call it self-reflection. And you ask yourself these hard questions, and a lot of us don't want the answers because then we got to do the work behind it. We can't have an issue that we want to solve if we're not willing to take the steps needed in order to fix it. And it's not an easy, like, this journey of getting mental health, or like it's spiritual for me as well. It's not easy, right? It's a long journey. It's a journey for yourself, and every time you heal a little bit, you realize that you need to heal some more. It never stops. Like, when you have mental health issues, it doesn't stop. It's an everyday. You have to go at it, and you have to be consistent in getting the help that you need, and you have to be consistent in doing your part. People can be there. You can have a whole bunch of doctors. You can have friends for support and family for support. But if you're not willing to do the work behind it, you're going to still be at the same place you always been. A safe attachment is you feel safe. You're able to function without the attachment. And it's okay to want something and have it. It's normal to like and love things. But when they take over your life, that's when the issue arises. We want to be able to function in relationships. We want to be able to have things, but when it becomes so overwhelming that it feel like it's driving us crazy, that's when we need to ask ourselves those questions. Like, why do I need this in my life if it's causing me pain? And some of us are so used to pain that it's okay. We don't feel like there is a problem. But if you're not functioning at your full capacity, you have to do something about it, especially if you want to thrive and you want to live and you want to have joy and peace. When you're negatively attached to things, it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of energy out of you. It takes your power away. So I want people to be able to get their power back and to be able to enjoy life and be able to do those things without being scared, without feel like they're losing control. I always tell people to have control is to lose control a little bit, if that makes sense. We have everything that we want and need is out there, but we have to be willing to do the work it takes to get it. And we have to know when it's something wrong with us and identify it and then go in to do something about it. We can't expect the world to give us things that we're not giving to ourselves, and that includes fixing your mental health as well. Remember, you're always in control. You control your life. You control what you need. You control what you want. You control everything. So in order for you to get better, you have to go out and get the help that you need. So my final thoughts on this, look over your life and ask yourself questions that you are afraid to have answered. And knowing that it's okay to have mental health issues, it's okay to be in whatever position in your life you are, it's okay to have attachments. Just know that you have to have boundaries and you have to set limits. And you have to ask yourself, is this healthy for me? And if it's not healthy, what can I do about it? I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Watch me each and every Sunday at 12 p.m. here on cmpradio.net on Facebook. Remember to visit my website, www.becomeyourc.com, where I talk about our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual aspects of ourselves to help us on our journey to self-discovery. Follow me on Instagram, Become Your C, Facebook, BYC Become Your C, YouTube, BYC Become Your C, also on TikTok at Become Your C. Remember, I'm having an event on November the 17th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Dream Event Space at 517 Avenue of the States, where I will be giving away a free meal to the homeless, and quantities are limited, so please get there early. Also, there will be a coat drive there as well. Remember that you're important, you're worthy, and you're valuable. Fall in love with yourself so the world can fall in love with you. Till next time.